Welcome to this explainer. You know, July 23rd might just be the absolute greatest date in the history of math. Today, we're going to see how this one single day silently powers the technology we rely on every single day. Across completely different centuries and borders, the brilliant minds that were either born or lost on this exact date fundamentally changed our modern world. So let's dive in and meet them.
Looking at our timeline for July 23rd, we'll be making quick stops in 1775, 1914, 1938, and 1993.
Right, so think about your smartphone for a second. How does that screen actually work to show you those crisp, clear images? Or actually, have you ever wondered why your phone screen shows all these brilliant colors, but then if you look at it through certain sunglasses, it just goes completely dark?
Well, that brings us to number 1, Étienne Louis Malus, born July 23, 1775.
Malus made a massive breakthrough. He discovered that light actually has specific sides or poles. He called this modification of light polarization. And this exact concept is what allows us to literally trap, filter, and control the light bouncing around inside your phone screen today. It's the precise science governing how every single pixel lights up.
Just think about that for a second. Every single time you look at a screen, you are looking at tamed light. His math essentially wrangled light itself for our modern digital world. Crazy, right?
Okay, let's jump forward on our timeline to 1938. Same exact date, completely different focus. Have you ever wondered how the map on your phone tracks you with such unbelievable pinpoint accuracy? Like, why does your GPS always know your exact location, even when you're flying fast down the highway?
That brings us to number 2, Ernest Brown, who died on July 23, 1938. Ernest Brown spent 30 years, doing agonizingly complex math entirely by hand, just to track the moon's exact path through space. He published his massive Tables of the Motion of the Moon back in 1919, and charting that math to track moving bodies in space, that laid the absolute foundation for tracking the GPS satellites that orbit our Earth right now. So literally, the math that tracked the moon now guides your phone. It's just amazing how this ancient historical quest to map the cosmos led directly to the turn-by-turn navigation sitting right in our pockets.
One date, so many wild stories. Let's keep going. Still on July 23rd, we're zooming all the way to 1993, to a mathematician working out in California. Let me ask you this. Every time you play a video game and the computer seems to just magically predict your strategy, how on earth is it doing that? How do games and AI guess exactly what you're going to do next when there are millions of possibilities?
The answer is number 3, Florence Nightingale David, who died on July 23, 1993. David completely mastered the immensely complex math of combinatorial chance. She literally wrote the book on it. She figured out exactly how to predict outcomes when there are just millions of possible choices. And you know what? That is the exact same mathematical logic that AI uses today to calculate the absolute highest probability of what's going to happen next.
It really reminds us of a fundamental truth. What looks like pure luck is actually just a hidden mathematical pattern. Behind every single random event in your favorite game, there's just a beautiful equation running the show behind the scenes.
All right, let's jump back in time just a bit to 1914, still exactly on July 23rd, for a birth that completely changed how global logistics operate. Have you ever thought about how food delivery apps get your meal to you piping hot, perfectly routed, while they're managing thousands of other orders at the exact same time? I mean, it feels like magic when it arrives right on time through all that city traffic, but it's pure mathematics.
This brings us to number 4, William Wager Cooper, born July 23, 1914.
Cooper helped develop something called linear programming. Basically, it's the math of finding the absolute best, most efficient way to do something out of thousands of terrible options. In a world without Cooper, we'd have random routes, constantly delayed deliveries, chaotic supply chains, and just a ton of wasted time. But with Cooper's optimized math, we get perfect logistics and instant deliveries.
His work literally optimizes the modern world. He took the absolute chaos of the real world and turned it into a perfectly solved equation, making sure our global networks and daily apps run flawlessly.
So let's take a look at our complete map of July 23rd, 1775, 1914, 1938, and 1993. Every single person we explored today in this explainer.
across totally different centuries and countries, all ask the exact same question. How do we find the pattern hiding inside the chaos? Malus found patterns in light for our screens. Brown found patterns in the cosmos for our GPS. David found patterns in chance for our AI. And Cooper found patterns in logistics for our apps.
And because they asked those questions, we have the incredibly optimized high-tech world we live in today. Which really leaves us with one final, huge mystery. What world-changing pattern is going to be discovered next on July 23rd? Keep asking questions about the chaos around you, because for all we know, the next great mathematical detective could be you.